Hey, what's up, guys? This is Reiki V, and today is episode number 2 of Evolutionary Underground podcast. And I'm here with my buddy Steve Schmee. Hey, say hi, Steve.
Hi, Steve. What's up, guys?
So today we're just going to talk about some of the products that we've used recently for one reason or another. And I'm going to start off with, I can't get too much into it, but basically during a move, I misplaced some of my stuff. It got put in the wrong spot, and I found myself without any Novadex, no Nova, and I had a good stack of it that I use. So in a pinch, I grabbed something, and it was Alpha Pharma's Tamoxifen. Now, when it comes to these kind of ancillaries, there's a lot of choices out there. You can go research, you can go underground, you can go a lot of different places, but I'm always concerned about that gynecomastia. I'm always concerned about eventually having to go under the knife. So grabbing something from a good reputable brand that I knew would be good, and I wouldn't be getting something bunk, or maybe some guy in his house and bathtub is misdosing the stuff. It's not what I need, or I'm not taking the amounts that I think I should, that I'm planning to take. So I went with Alpha Pharma. It's just a good brand. I think we've discussed in Evo Underground before that some brands are just made up to a really high standard, even if they're not, even if they don't have all of the documentation. They're trying to do something and build a good reputation, a good name. So I know that in that kind of that whole kind of group of labs, this one was there, and for something as important as Novadex, when I'm trying to prevent my glands from growing, definitely going with something that's known and reputable is the way to go. And it was pretty easy to find. Local. It wasn't a big deal. So yeah, I mean that's probably one of the most recent ones. I got 2 others that I'm going to talk about that I've used this year, but this is a good one. What do you got, Steve?
So here's a really cool product that Alpha Pharma has that you won't find from other brands or other sources, and it's called Tren, and it's parabolin. And so here's the thing with trenbolone. There's 3 different types. You've got trenbolone acetate, you got trenbolone enanthate, and you got the Tren. And the interesting thing is, talking to some of the old school guys, from the 90s and 2000s who have a lot of experience with steroids, you ask them, which trenbolone should you use? And they always come back and say, oh, absolutely, go with the Tren. Go with the Tren. So, at the end of the day, trenbolone is trenbolone. It's strong as heck, okay? I'm not going to curse, but I'm not in a cursing mood today. But let's just say it's strong as heck. Of all the steroids you can use. The cool thing about this Tren is it comes in amps, and this stuff packs a wallop, Rick. Running this stuff, be prepared. I mean, be prepared running this. This isn't, kiddie stuff here, We're not talking, this isn't kiddie gear. This is stuff out of amps. You draw up the amp, you inject it, and this stuff gives you tremendous results. The thing is, within the first week and a half on this stuff, which is, if you're injecting it 2 or 3 times a week, you're doing 4 injections or 5 injections at the most, right? And you're already up 5-6 pounds in body weight. It just adds so much mass so quickly. Your lifts, if you can do on a bench press or on a squat, say 6 reps at a really heavy weight, you're going to be doing 8 or 9 reps at that same weight, literally a week and a half after you start this stuff. So there's just something about it. There's something about Tren. If you've run trenbolone, if you've run trenbolone acetate, you run trenbolone enanthate, you're like, you know what? I want to try something little different. Run the Tren out of these amps from Alpha Pharma. There's just something about them, and the side effects are less than the other types of Tren. I'm not sure if it's just the cleaner type of Tren or what, but maybe it's just a placebo effect. Maybe I'm crazy. But at the end of the day, you can't go wrong with this stuff. It makes a tremendous difference. And I'm telling you, like, it's the best Tren I've ever used. So check that out. The Alpha Pharma Trenbolone Hex. Really, really good stuff. And you don't have to run much, by the way. I only ran 200 milligrams a week by itself. That's it. And it gave me tremendous results. What you got, Rick?
So a product that I came across recently that I was pretty happy with. I got some Testanat 250 from Dragon Pharma. Started a nice little cycle at the beginning of the year, and I was going to be doing about 250 mgs of test a week, along with a couple other things on there. That cycle got derailed because of infection in a root on one of my teeth. I'm going to be talking about that on our regular Evolutionary radio podcast. So I had the Testanat 250 from Dragon Pharma. It's pretty inexpensive. I was pretty happy with it. Very, very, very nice, nice product. Usually I might get the Testoviron from Bayer, the 250 human grade. You pay the extra money for that. You know, each cc of that, each 250 mgs of that, I'm in the game about $15. But this one was, 10 for under 40. I mean, it was a decent deal. And it's a good reputable brand. So I wasn't too worried about it. Like I said, some hold a pretty high standard as how they make stuff. So this was available, and I'm telling you, I was really, really happy with this one, man. Testing that, Dragon Pharma. When I got my hands on it, I wanted to make sure it was legit. So it's pretty easy to go through the label, go through the website, and check out and make sure I had legitimate product. Because some of these labs are already so popular, like Dragon Pharma, that there are fakes out there, but manufacturers make it real easy for you to check that shit out and make sure you're not getting a slip bunk stuff. Did I notice a huge difference between using human grade to using underground? I mean, I've done it throughout the years. There isn't really a huge difference you're going to really, really notice unless you get bunk product from an underground lab. Then the difference is night and day. But if they're putting in there what they're supposed to be putting in there, if they're a nice, clean process as far as how they make stuff, then, injection pain and how you feel afterwards, and if you ever get that test flu and all these things, all these variables, can't say much. I don't know if there's anything else going on under the surface. I mean, who really knows? But as far as I can tell, it's just as good as doing the Bayer. I was pretty darn happy with it. Good product, easy to verify, make sure I got legit product, and this is good stuff. I was pretty happy with it.
So the one I want to talk about from Dragon Pharma, Rick, is Turanabol, T-Bol. And the thing about Dragon Pharma is their orals are really, really sharp. I mean, very professional. These are laboratory tested, okay? It's not like you were saying, these other labs that they make the gear out of the toilet. Some dude, in some trailer somewhere in the middle of nowhere, making the gear in the toilet or the bathtub and brewing it and putting it in a vial and then selling it. He's not going to take the extra step to test the product, make sure it's legit. He doesn't really care, okay? He's just trying to save time so he can go do whatever else he wants to do that day. But this Dragon Pharma, they actually laboratory test their products. So the key with the orals is when you buy oral from an underground lab that is poor quality, they're going to fill that oral with crap, all right? Sugars, chemicals, fillers, salt, whatever. They're just going to fill it, and it's going to be underdosed because they cannot make money selling it if it's dosed correctly, number one. Number two, they're not going to test it to make sure it's dosed correctly. And number three, they're not worried about their reputation. These are fly-by-night underground labs that you're buying from. Some dude at the gym who's got a buddy who brews gear at home. He doesn't care. He's just going to sell his product, and then that's it. He'll be done. You know, he doesn't care about his long-term reputation. He doesn't care about his company. You know, but Dragon Pharma, they've been around for years, and they will continue to be around for years, and they're legit. They're legal in where they're selling their product, in the countries they're selling their product. So they're not hiding from anyone. They're open. They're an open, legitimate company, and they lab test it. So when you buy an oral from them, you can expect tremendous results, and you can expect to feel the difference when you take it. It's just like buying a nice steak, nice quality steak versus a crappy steak from a cheap supermarket. You will taste the difference, and you'll notice the difference. I noticed when I was running Turanabol. I wasn't running much. I don't run a lot of gear. You guys know me by now. I don't run a lot of gear. I mean, I ran probably 20 or 40 milligrams a day of this stuff, and I was getting tremendous results on Turanabol. So it's very clean. I don't get any problems with stomach aches or acid reflux or nausea from taking this stuff. I can take it fasted. I can take it with food, with water, without food. Doesn't matter. You hear so many stories of guys taking orals and they can't tolerate it. They get sick from the orals. Well, if you're going to get sick from the orals, what's the point? You're just going to be sick all day, and you're not going to want to work out, and that doesn't make any sense. So quality matters, guys. Quality matters, especially with orals. A lot of people don't realize that most orals out there are filled with crap. And it's just the way it is, guys. So you want to make sure whenever you use oral steroids, you're getting it from a legitimate brand that's high quality and laboratory tested. And that's Dragon Pharma, Turanabol.
All right, so one of the last products I used recently on the cycle that I was discussing, it was about 250 tests a week, about 100 master a week, 100 primo a week, and about 100 EQ a week. It was just a very small cutting cycle. I just wanted to get certain things going from it. Oh, and 100 mgs of Tren a week. Almost forgot. So I like it. I'm more about just having a total dosing. So I wanted to get a good 700, about 650, 700 mg cycle going, and used just small amounts of these other anabolics on top of 250 of test. Just cruising real nicely. And one of the products that I hadn't used before, and I used this time, was GP. It's called GP Mast 100 by Geneza Pharmaceuticals, and I got the 100. Although there's a 200 available, but I got the 100s. I don't mind the volume. I can do about 5-6 cc's per glute per shot, so I'm not too worried about the volume. And I was doing twice a week shots, which we'll discuss on our Evolutionary Radio podcast, how to use properly the syringe to draw out of different multi-dose vials. I think that's good. It's a good class for everyone to listen to. But I thought it was a nice, neat product, very nicely packaged, good, reputable brand, Geneza Pharmaceuticals. And what I kind of started doing with the cycle is I just started using the test and the Masteron the first couple of weeks, and then I added stuff on as the weeks went on. And I got to tell you, I felt really nice those first 2 weeks. I think this is a nice potent Masteron. I haven't had lab tested, so I couldn't tell you, but it was a nice start. I got to tell you that it was a nice, really start to a cycle. I got pretty dry in just the first week or so. It's getting noticeably dry. I was taking pictures from this log, and I could see the difference, how nicely I was drying out. Now, my diet is on point, as it always is, but I know that Masteron was doing something, even as little as 100 milligrams a week with the 250 test. Now, test doesn't tend to dry me out, so I was kind of surprised how that effect worked, but it's a nice, good product. I know the Masteron did it, and then I added some of the other steroids on top of that. I do my own kind of thing. I have my own kind of way of cycling figured out that works for me, specifically for me. I don't talk about my really personal way of cycling way too much on the podcast because I'll have a lot of guys saying, Rick, you know what the fuck you talking about. But I'm more about just getting a total amount of androgens in my system per week, and then really using my diet and my training as what my body's going to do. If I'm going to gain mass, lose body fat, whatever I'm doing, I really focus it more on my diet training, and the compounds are just the compounds. As long as I'm taking 5 to 1,000 mgs a week, I'm gonna see something. So that's been my experience. And yeah, it started off our first couple of weeks with Masteron and testosterone. And I got to tell you, man, this is nice, good Masteron. I felt like I got to use the product for a couple of weeks, sort of on its own, 2 weeks to 20 days, something along those lines. And then I added other 2 compounds and then another one and another one. But good product. I think is nicely priced for the quality and everything else that's out there. And there is a 200 milligram. There is a 200 milligram version. And the reason I didn't go with it is because I wanted to shoot half a cc of this thing, and if I did the 200, it would just bring up my Masteron dose. Although it's a great buy because you get twice the amount, and really when it comes down to it, you pay maybe a third more for twice the amount. That's not a bad deal, but it was just, I didn't want to take 200 milligrams of Masteron a week. That wasn't the game plan. Only wanted 100 mgs. That's all I needed for this. And so it would just be too dense, too little volume for the dosing. I'd be doing a quarter cc a week. I mean, there was just no way not to mess that up. And my cycle did not call for 200 mgs of Masteron. Who knows? Maybe the way I planned it out and with my experience, I might have gotten too dry, drop my estrogen maybe too much. I don't know what would have happened if I went with the 200 mgs and did a cc, but that was the game plan, 100 mgs, and it was nice volume, easy to measure out, especially I'm using other things at the same time and the same syringe. So it was a good product. I'd rather just get the right amount that I need and not try to, I don't know. It's just it was the game plan. It worked well, fit well. Good product. What do you think, Steve?
So, Geneza Pharma, one of the best sources really in the world, maybe the number one brand in the world. I said source, I apologize. Brand in the world, maybe the number one. Again, they're laboratory tested. How many times have people complain on the forums, Rick, that they order Primobolan and it's fake? How many times? You know what they're faking Primobolan with these days? Deca. And people can't tell the difference, but Deca is a heck of a lot cheaper to source. So if you buy steroids from some dude at the gym or some fly-by-night underground lab that you found on some website or Googled, there's a good chance that Primobolan that you're getting is fake. So you're going to spend all this money on Primobolan and then find out, oh yeah, this stuff is fake. It doesn't make any sense. So for me, the nice thing about Geneza, what they do is they sell the Primobolan in vials. It's not expensive at all. You can buy it in bulk and save a fortune. And you'll have plenty of Primobolan, and it's affordable. And the nice thing about it, Rick, it's laboratory tested. So you're getting legitimate Primobolan. 100 milligrams a day, guys. That's what Arnold supposedly ran. That's what we think he ran from rumors and people that were close to him. And that was what guys ran in the 70s. And they achieved these amazing physiques with no water retention and no bloat and 6-packs on the beach, tanned up. Oh my gosh. Southern California, the golden nectar of Primobolan. That's what these guys use in those days. And this stuff is amazing. It's not going to blow you up. I talked about Tren last couple few minutes ago, I talked about Tren earlier in the show, right? Well, this isn't Tren. This is Primobolan. You're going to get good, clean, lean results, slow results, but the gains are going to be keepable. So if you're going to buy Primobolan, you're going to spend all that money on Primobolan, which is an expensive steroid, you better make sure that the brand you use is real. Otherwise, you're wasting your time. And I tell guys this all the time, and they want to argue, but I would never, ever use Primobolan unless it was from a top-notch brand. Top-notch. And that brand better be lab-tested, not some dude brewing it out of his toilet. So if that's what you want, if you want the legitimate Primobolan, go to Geneza Pharmaceuticals, guys, and you can buy legitimate Primobolan, 100 milligrams per milliliter. It's a lot of injections, but that's why I suggested just doing 100 milligrams a day. Keep things simple, and you'll get tremendous results on 700 mgs a week. I don't care if you are experienced or you're a newbie. Primobolan is a great steroid for you, and it's got extremely low side effects. You don't even feel like you're on steroids when you're on it. It doesn't give you those same side effects. So it's a very, very clean steroid. And I love my Primo cycle, guys. I wish I could go back in time with the knowledge I have now and the mentality I have now. Go back a few years when I used this Geneza Primobolan, I would have had even better results. But what happened was that I ran it for 12 weeks. At the end of the 12 weeks, people were telling me, oh, you look leaner. You look leaner. But I actually had gained weight on cycle. But people thought I looked leaner just because it makes you more cut. And that's what my girlfriend at the time said. She's like, you look more cut. Your muscles look more defined. And I was like, well, that's Primobolan for you. That's what Primobolan does. So if that's what you're after, guys, give this a shot. Don't ever use Primobolan unless it's from a brand like Geneza. Ever. Rick?
Primo's a great product, is a great steroid, but you got to get legit Primo, like Steve said. I mean, that's the problem. It's one of the more expensive steroids. And if you don't know any better, if you never got to use real Primobolan, then you won't know when you got slip bunk stuff. There's ways to know. The injection pain is pretty consistent, even with some of the underground stuff. You know, some of the underground products, funny enough, less injection pain maybe than the pharmaceutical formulation they've had.
Yeah, the Geneza just had a slight post-injection pain, but I am prone to PIP. I am very prone to it. So if I'm getting slight, many of you who use it may not notice anything. They're very good, Rick, at hiding that PIP. They know how to do it. So
the way it kind of works is the pharmaceutical brands, they have to keep a mix of carriers and solvents and everything that's approved across different parts of the world. They can't get too innovative. They'd have to apply for different licenses, different things. But you have a high quality underground lab, they can go with the latest and best techniques, solvents, carriers. They can just do it all, and it's less issues. I guess you could say. But when it comes to the pharmaceutical Primo, it's got to stay the original formula. It's big hassle, big to do to get it going differently. So yeah, you're going to find that some of these underground labs actually have less PIP than human grade stuff. But definitely Geneza, Dragon Pharma, Alpha Pharma, you get Primo from at least any of those three, you're gonna be happy with it, because you're getting something from a place that's trying to build a reputation, and their batches get tested not only by them but by third parties that are trying to see if this is really good. Test results get posted on the forums. It's when you're a brand that's that known and a UG lab that's that known, there's always going to be someone that's going to spend a couple $100 out of their pocket to test one of your bottles. Sometimes many guys will do that just to see what just to see what's up, see if they can expose you on the forums in front of everyone if you fuck up. So main thing is go with brands that are well known and that are being talked about and that are trying to build a reputation. And I think, yeah, any of those three off the top of my head are really good. There's other ones, there's other good mentions too. But just this podcast, we're, I don't know, those are the three I want to talk about. So
Sounds good, buddy. Great show. I think a lot of people got a lot of knowledge from this show for sure. And we don't want to see anybody get ripped off or use underdose gear. You know how many times I've used underdose gear in my life?
I'm sure a ton me myself too. A bunch of
no, I mean not many times, a few times. But the thing is, like when you're halfway through a cycle and then you realize this gear is bunk, I mean, it's a mind fuck, you know? It's like, damn.
At the very start of the underground lap movement, which really to me, I think it started around 07, 08, 2007, 2008. That's when guys started getting the raws in and started batching out their own stuff. It was a few years after guys started making tremble on acetate out of Phenoplex H kits. Guys realized, hey, if I can brew Tren out of cattle pellets, I can definitely do something with the raw powders. And a big connection started to be made. And I think during that first era, 07, 08, 09, 2010, 2011, before I personally kind of knew any better, I think I grabbed a lot of gear from guys that was underdosed, and I don't think they even knew themselves. It wasn't like we weren't following procedure protocol. It was just buddies on the forums that had it, and they were nearby kind of. And once guys started brewing Phenoplex H kits, the game kind of changed locally. And those years, man, I think I got a bunch of underdose stuff. I knew leading up to those years, all you can get was human grade from Europe, some human grade from Mexico, and a lot of veterinarian grade from Mexico. Quality Vet, Animal Power, Denkow, Brovel. Those are all Mexican brands. You could buy stuff. Some of that stuff is they tested it before and after. Heavy metals, all that good stuff. Organon, made Sustanon. You get Primobolan, right? So that was my experience with it. And I always felt like I got the results. I got what I paid for. And then 07, 08 and on, right? All these years, you start seeing underground labs. All these years, you start seeing later on in the years, you start seeing underground labs pop up, and you realize there's a huge money savings going with a big jug of something that's supposed to be, test prop 100 mgs per ml, big 30, 40, 50 mil jug, local brew. It was just an incredible deal over buying, maybe buying some quality vet or some Robel. Definitely over getting human grade, that's for sure. So I think the results just weren't the same. It wasn't until about 2010, 2011, 2012 that some guys figured it out. They figured out like, hey, we can make underground lab stuff, but make it in the legit places under legit standards. And it's kind of there's a few labs out there now that are operating under that. Like they're maybe UGs. They might be approved in some countries out in Eastern Europe or different places. They're approved in some of these places for to be in pharmacies and such. But for the most part, the gameplay is make high quality stuff, build a name, build a reputation based on just consistent quality, and just have the products that people want, the milligrams that dudes want, the ancillaries that people want, and just high quality, even if it's a UG, basically, in my opinion, I think. But some guys think differently than me. I mean, because some of these places are approved in different countries, so they maybe not be considered as much UG. But I don't know. It's kind of that new wave of places that of brands that are catering to the juice, the steroids that bodybuilders really want. some of the milligrams, some of this. I mean, some products I doubt they'll ever get approval for human use, like Trenbolone or EQ maybe. Um, Even though both of those were approved for human use in the states at some point, but nowadays, how many places, how many countries will really let you approve those? It's a good question. The way the Mexican labs did it back in the day, they could get those almost anything approved for animal use. So there's a different game plan. But yeah, these are when I use UG stuff, these are some of the brands that I'll use. So I guess that's our show today, huh, Steve?
Yeah, guys, and definitely we'll leave in the show notes how to get a hold of us, Steve Smee on Evolutionary.org or Elite Fitness. You guys can drop me a message there if you need help with one-on-one coaching or consultations. And Rick, also, your stuff is in the show notes as well, guys. You guys can check that out. Those of you listening to us through Evo or iTunes. Your information is in the notes as well, but do you want to let everyone know how they can get a hold of you in case?
RickyVRock.com. Just go to RickyVRock.com and you'll get to my social. Just drop me a message on any of my pages and I'll always answer. Just drop me a note and I'm always around.
All right, guys. So that sums it up. We'll have another episode coming your way soon. Hope you enjoyed it. Take care. Guys, this is the required legal disclaimer. We are only sharing our experience from years of steroid use. We are not doctors, and none of what we say should be regarded as medical advice. Always check with your doctor before taking any drugs or starting any training program.